For over 20 years, I've struggled with anxiety, and for a large portion of that, I've also had challenges with alcohol and alcohol abuse. I'm going to tell my story today, and the reason I'm going to talk about it is because I've realized that, especially us men, do not talk about these mental health and substance abuse issues, and it's literally killing us. A lot of men, especially in the older generations that my dad was a part of, feel the stigma and the weakness that comes along with that, and they honestly would rather die than talk about these things. And my dad ended up died because he didn't want to get help. He wasn't able to get help at that point in his life. And that really changed my life. And my hope is that I can pivot this YouTube channel to start talking about things that are very important to me personally. And that is being able to talk about my struggles in the hopes that it makes other people able to talk about theirs, to get help, to seek out a confidant and a friend or a family member, to be able to start the conversation about mental health and substance abuse. Nobody should suffer in silence. And my goal is to make sure that we can have this conversation honestly and lift each other up as we all heal our wounds and overcome our challenges. When I was 18, I had my first panic attack. I was away at college. I had been studying in my dorm room alone. I was just feeling generally overwhelmed with everything I had to do and to study for. And I remember I was alone in my dorm room, and just all of a sudden it hit me like a wave, a ton of bricks. My face started getting flushed. I started sweating. My heart started racing. Like I thought my heart was going to actually explode. And I just remember thinking, I don't know what's going on. Something is obviously terribly wrong, but I don't know what it is. Most likely, I'm going to die here in this dorm room alone. And it was terrifying. I legitimately thought I was going to die. Imagine you not understanding what's happening in your body, and all of the systems that you have are just going haywire. I just remember it was a feeling of a complete lack of control of my own body. And that was terrifying to me because I have always been a person very much in control of myself and always wanting to be in control of my surroundings as well. Having that first panic attack profoundly changed my life. And I started to live in fear of having another panic attack, which is, it's crazy to think about. I had a panic attack and then I was having anxiety about having another panic attack. And so it was just a cycle of anxiety upon anxiety. Once I had this panic attack, I lived in fear of having another panic attack. And so I actually had gone to the doctor to figure out what is happening because at the time I didn't know this was a panic attack. At the time, I'm thinking there's obviously something wrong with me. Something in my body is wrong. My heart is not functioning properly. And so I had my family doctor run a bunch of tests, and everything came back as a clean bill of health. When I was talking with the doctor, he had said this was most likely a panic attack. There's nothing that we can find that's wrong with you. You look normal from all the EKG scans and all this other tests that we ran. And so if you don't want to have panic attacks anymore, if you feel like you are stressed, if you are anxious all the time, we could put you on a antidepressant, and that will take away a lot of the stress and anxiety that you're feeling. And so for my family, we're not medical professionals. We don't have experience with mental health. And so we took the doctor's word for it. Take a medication, you'll be fine. There wasn't really much discussion about other alternatives that were non-medications. So things just like therapy would have been helpful at the time for me to learn how to deal with these emotions, to process this stuff, to have a toolbox to handle anxiety when it came up. And instead, I started out on an SSRI that I've been on for a full 20 years now. So I started on Paxil when I was 18 years old. I transitioned to Zoloft, sertraline, when I was about 25 or 26. I've been on that ever since. And so, at the time, I remember the doctor saying to me and my mom, like, these antidepressants are so safe, we should probably be putting them in the water system of every local community. And when we're thinking about, like, do I put my son on a medication? Do I put myself on a medication? When you hear a doctor say that, you're like, oh, for sure, this means nothing. It's safe, it's effective, not going to change anything in your life. I just think back to that day and I still have a lot of frustration and sadness for myself that we accepted the doctor's word for it at the time. What I've come to realize over the last couple of years is that being on an SSRI at lower levels can really help your quality of life. It's needed by a lot of people to live normal lives, and that's great. But when you're on it for a very, very long time, you just start to need more and more of that SSRI. And I feel like my emotions are just blunted to a certain extent. I feel like my highs and my lows are now more in kind of this range. But with that, I'm not having panic attacks because I'm not down here at the very bottom, but I'm also not super excited about the things in life I should be excited about. I'm not finding joy in as many things as I feel like I used to find joy in. One of the journeys that I've been on in the last couple months has been starting to taper off of my SSRI, hopefully all the way off of the SSRI, but I'm comfortable if it's only to cut it in three-fourths of a dose just to get back down to a level I feel like I can have a wider range of emotions and enjoy life a little bit more while also working in therapy to overcome some of the stressors that I have, the anxious thoughts, and just how to deal with those when they come up. I've been doing a lot of activities for my mental health. 20-year-old me, 25-year-old me would laugh at myself and some of the stuff I do now, like cold plunging, hot yoga, meditation. These are all things that I've found have helped me tremendously to lower my stress levels. My overarching goal is to make it okay for us to talk about mental health, especially men, because we tend to internalize everything, really turn inside of ourselves and not share our thoughts, our emotions with even those closest to us. I hope that you join me on this journey. I am extremely excited. I know sometimes it doesn't look like it, but I'm extremely excited to start this journey with you all. And I hope that you guys will subscribe and stick around, and let's really try to make a difference in everyone's lives. So I am looking forward to continuing to publish more videos about where I am, what I've found that's worked and what hasn't. I invite you guys to do the same, but please leave a message for me in the comments. Let me know what is resonating, what's not resonating, and where I might be able to be of assistance. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Hey guys, please like this video and subscribe. It would be very, very helpful.